What's going on, guys? I am back with another hat format replay for you guys. This is another semifinals match from the most recent Pleiades Payout 4, which I did a tournament review on, which if you haven't checked that video out, I will have it linked in the video description so you can go and check out what decks actually entered this event, what topped, and we take a look at the deck lists in that video. And also, if you want me to potentially react to your hat format replays, all the information on how you can do that is in the video description as well. But let's get into this match. Here we have Extra Power, who is on Geargia, I believe Geargia Hands to be exact, versus Molson Canada, who is Canadian, my bad, who is on Hat. And so let's get right into it. So here they are doing the rock, paper, scissors, and you'll see Extra Power win that and choose to go first. Opening hands, we have Needle Sealing, Geargia MK2, Geargia Gear, Upstart, and Armor. Really good to see Geargia Gear right away, and also Needle Sealing in case they extend too much. And Molson opens with Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, Double Cyclone, Call the Haunted, Artifact Ignition, and Duality. So a good amount of back row removal and Duality for a little searching. And let's see what happens. So Extra Power draws for turn and finds a copy of Geargia Accelerator. So pretty strong start, upstart into another armor. A little unfortunate there, but, you know, in case the board does get cracked, they do have that. Here they're going to set a copy of armor and set the Geargia Gear and probably the Needle Sealing as well and pass it over. And Molson draws a copy of Firehand, which is pretty good into some back row here. They go for Duality. They find Duality, Beagle Tech, and Ice Hand. And they take the Beagle Tech, which makes sense. They have the Ignition, so, you know, the old play of Ignition, pop, Beagle Tech, set whatever, Beagle Tech, summon, pop whatever they had just set. And they also have the Double Cyclone if need be. Here... Oh, okay, they just misclicked. I was like, why are they adding the Duality? They set the Ignition, set the Beagle Tech, set the Double Cyclone, the Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, and set Firehand. Oh, and Call the Haunted. So everything on the table here. End phase Geargia Gear going for MK2 and probably Geargiano. Yep. And then Extra Power will draw for turn, finding a Dark Hole. Right away, Molson goes Ignition, pop the Beagle Tech, chain the Double Cyclone to pop the Ignition and pop the last back row. This is just good in case it's something like a breakthrough skill or fiendish or something. They can just kind of out it right away. And it resolves, so they pop the Needle Sealing, which is really strong of them to hit that right away because Needle Sealing would be live, though you would lose the Geargia play, but you do have the Armor and Accelerator, and you'd have, you know, the Armor Search. So a little unfortunate there for Extra Power here, and they set Madolche, go for Beagle Tech, so exactly the play that I mentioned. And there's no hand traps here, so it will resolve. Madolche will pop the Geargiano, which is good because, you know, people forget Geargiano has an actual relevant effect, which they can tribute it and target a level 4 machine-type monster in the graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated. That will, you know, that effect comes up once you start Xyz summoning and stuff and getting more things in grave. Here they flip the armor, search another Accelerator. Accelerator isn't a once per turn special or anything, so always good to see that. Here they're thinking. They go for a copy of Gear Gigan X to search. Add the third Accelerator, though Molson only knows about 2 at the moment. Summon MK2 to summon back the Geargiano. Special Accelerator. Overlay both into the Soul of Silver Mountain. So that is going to allow them to basically target one of these and ice it for the turn, or not for the turn, but while it's face up, it has materials, I believe. It says once per turn, detach one Xyz material from this card, target one set card in your opponent's spell and trap card zone. It can't be activated while this card's face up on the field. So, you know, it basically is just preventing them from using one, though I feel in certain cases that could just be met with the... Yeah, let's see what happens here. So they use it, and they do go for the Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, which they can chain and just out it. Here, the second accelerator comes down, overlay. Oh, a little misclick there from them. Or I guess they're just thinking. They special the other accelerator first, and they go for a Gear Gigant, so they can use the effect again and search again, which, Gear Gigant can also add from graveyard, so because they had another Geargia in graveyard, they are able to just detach and then use it for itself, which they can then special again, and go for Dweller, playing around the hands, which they know that this deck is on. Go to battle phase, use Dweller, and then just start running over everything. And very commanding position from extra power. Molson top decks a Compulse, and that's enough to go to game number 2, where Molson will be starting. Opening hands, Bottomless, Ice Hand, Beagle Tech, Sanctum, and Moral Tech. And extra power has Torrential, Geargia Armor, Firehand, MK2, and Warning. They draw Ignition for turn, so very artifact heavy, but really, really solid hand from Molson here. They set the Bottomless, the Sanctum, and everything. Yep, so similar to their last game, just setting everything. Here, extra power just sets the copy of MK2. Interesting. I guess they're trying to bait some sort of back row in case, they think that it's a hand or an armor or something to make them waste resources, and set the warning as well. They, in end phase, go Ignition, pop the Beagle Tech, and so similar thing. Just trying to be able to turn a rank 5 live. And let's see. They draw Dark Hole for turn. Overlay right away into a copy of Tyrus. Really good into back row, since while this card has materials, it can't be destroyed by card effects. They flip the warning to out it, and they just pass. Here, they draw the Ally of Justice Quarantine, which I've made a video talking about this card. It's really cool. It says neither player can special summon light monsters, so this just basically turns off all the artifacts. It's also searchable off of Gear Gigant X, which is nice. And they're thinking, they flip the MK2, and it does have the effect when it's flip summon to be able to special summon a Geargia monster from your hand or graveyard, which they allow. They chain Torrential, and here they can summon the armor. Really cool play there. They summon the armor and set it with its effect, and then normal summon a Quarantine. That was an interesting play because that could have actually ran into a Torrential from Molson. Though, the following turn they would have MK2, but it was a little risky there, but at such a high stakes, you kind of have to make plays like that. They attack with Quarantine and pass it over, and they find Ice Hand. Unfortunately, extra power has no back row, so that's not the strongest, but I'm sure this Dark Hole will put in work, which it does to clear up, and then Ice Hand just to do some damage. They draw Geargia Gear for turn, which I believe... So they do still have Geargiano and one MK2 left in deck, so I don't think this is dead just yet. Summon MK2, use the effect to summon another MK2, Soulless Silver Mountain here, yep. Which gets met with Bottomless. The reason they were going for Soulless Silver Mountain here is because it has the effect when it destroys something to be able to, summon back in Earth. So probably to get that armor back. And here they just set Geargia Gear, pass it over, and they find a copy of MST, swing with Ice Hand, set the MST, in the end phase, Geargia Gear. Yep, there is that Geargiano in the last MK2. They draw Dark Hole. Here they go MST to hit the Morale Tack, right? They did have the extra Morale Tack there because the other one was summoned or set off of the Ignition. Here they allow it. The Morale Tech gets summoned back and will pop probably the Geargiano again. Yep. Then they go Firehand and switch the Geargiano or the MK2. Attack into Morale Tech. Use the effect to pop the Ice Hand. Summon an Ice Hand, just clearing the board here. The Sanctum, though, is activated and summons a copy of Morale Tech, which will be able to pop the Ice Hand, and because there won't be a set at that point, They won't be able to float this, I'm guessing, is what's going to happen. Oh no, they go for the MK2. Oh, because I guess they can't crash it regardless. By getting rid of the MK2, it means that if this were to be an accelerator or something, they can't just special it and then make a play from there. Potentially. Though, yeah, I guess because, yeah, they won't be able to attack with the Ice Hand regardless, unless they just want to lose it, which I don't know why they would do there. Main phase 2, Dark Hole, putting them on top deck mode. Mermail is a great draw. It automatically puts them up an advantage, and Acid Trap Hole, a nasty card against Geargia. It target a face down defense position monster on the field, flip it face up, then destroy it if its defense is 2,000 or less, or return it if it's more. So, that basically just hits everything in Extra Power's deck. And set that, and just swing in for some damage. Extra Power's getting real low. Draws MST, but not enough there. So game 3, Extra Power will be starting. Opening hand, Debunk, Geargia Armor, Geargia Gear, Needle Sealing, Fiendish Chain. Really, strong hand overall. Versus Molson Canadian opens Treptrix, Treple Nightmare, Torrential, Bottomless, Ice Hand, and Ignition. So also a pretty solid hand, especially seeing they have the Ice Hand versus all the back row, though Debunk will probably put in a lot of work here. Draw for turn, a copy of MK2. Set the armor, set the Fiendish Chain, all the traps set, and pass it over. Molson finds a copy of Mermail. Summon Mermail, probably searching that acid again. Yep. Set Ignition, Acid, Torrential. What was that? Bottomless, right? And not setting the Traptrix Treple Nightmare here. Was there a reason? I guess because if they want the Ignition to just pop an opponent's card, that might be why, because if you have 5 sets, you have to pop your own with Ignition. And, given this, they don't have a double Cyclone or something to actually go and pop their whatever artifact they would set off of that. Looks like, was that during the end phase, a copy of Geargia Gear, going for MK2 and regular Geargiano. Draws another Debunk, flip armor. They say it's okay, add accelerator. Overlay the 2 4s into a copy of Geargigan X. Use the effect. Go for accelerator. Special the accelerator. Special the other accelerator. Into Honor Arc. The reason they go for this is just because into a lot of back row, you want to play it safe and be able to, if there is a torrential or something, keep a monster on board. They weren't summoning this for the sake of its effect, because obviously Mermail was normal summoned. Here they go Ignition, right, to pop a back row, and they chain the torrential, so very smart to go for that there. They hit the Needle Sealing, set a Moraltac. The 101 detaches. Right, yep. Summon MK2. Use the effect, get back the armor. Attack with MK2, attack with 101. Set the Debunk, and pass. No effect here. Nothing's negating it. Maybe they were just, because they knew that they had the Acid Trap Hole, so not trying to, get blown out by that. They draw a Solemn Warning, summon the Ice Hand, attack into the MK2. Smart to do that here, just because they are playing around Debunk in this situation. Set the copy of Warning, and set the Traptrix Treple Nightmare. Here, Extra Power finds a copy of Firehand. Summons the Firehand, it gets Bottomless, which won't trigger the effect because this has to specifically be sent to Graveyard. They switch the armor to attack with 101 into the Ice Hand, and, obviously at that point they knew they had the Debunk, so the Debunk comes in, armor attacks, again keeping this in attack just to play around that copy of Acid Trap Hole. Molson top decks a copy of Blackhorn, and just scoops it up. Unfortunately, nothing they could really do there. They just, attack in for game. Looking at the back row here, yeah, there was nothing they could have done. Maybe the game would have been a little different had Molson actually set the Traptrix Trapple Nightmare earlier on, though I'm not exactly sure how much work that would have really put in there. Extra power played that really good with the armor and not setting that into the acid trap hold despite, the other stuff, but also seeing double debunk is just really, really strong against the hands and stuff. But that was the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like on this video. Comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and all that good stuff. Share this video with your friends. And don't forget to check out the tournament report for this event in the video description, as well as if you want me to react to your hat format replays, you can find all the information to do so also in the video description. And anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.